All right, today our special guest is a story of success. We have success stories in here all the time, from Olympians, from professional athletes, to entrepreneurs, to real estate individuals. And John's success is a story of changing his life. And I'm going to let you hear more about what he did on why I feel that he is an incredibly success story, and wanted to bring him into the radio station to share with people out there who feel that everything's against them and they don't have what it takes to be successful. Well, John's story can prove that you can be successful. So definitely keep watching. Good morning, everybody. You are listening to K-Talk Radio, 1640 AM. This is the show, Utah Home Sweet Home. I am your guest, Yoshi Shiraki. No, I'm not your guest. Wait, I just heard chuckles and I was like, wait, why are people chuckling? Okay, so I'm not your guest. I don't know why I said that. I am your host. I couldn't even think of what I am. I am your host, Yoshi Shiraki, and our very special guest is John Schaefer. John, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for asking me.
Yes, I really appreciate it. So,
And I remember being in high school and having health drug education classes, and they'd show you a video or whatever and tell you how stuff worked, and
right.
And then I'd try it and I'd be like, that wasn't true.
Oh no.
And so
Yeah.
the education about drugs and alcohol was pretty poor, pretty inaccurate.
Got it.
And that led me to sort of not believe anything I was told and be willing to try anything.
Yes.
That combined with me being unhappy at home and uncomfortable with myself,
yes,
like most of us are when we're teenagers.
Right.
Led me to using pretty much any kind of drug that anybody would put in front of me, and eventually led me to heroin. At the time, there wasn't all the synthetic prescription opioids that there are now.
Yeah.
I mean, they existed, but those were pretty exotic to us.
Got it.
I started using heroin. I think the first time I used it, I was 16. Actually, that was a synthetic. But then when I was in college, I started being able to get actual heroin.
Gotcha.
And it takes. I was never really hooked in college.
Okay.
I made it through college.
Yeah.
Graduated. My college years were very messy. And my last year, I got kicked off campus and lived off campus.
Oh.
But graduated.
Yes.
Made it through, and then after college, that's when my real addiction started. I didn't have any money in college. My family doesn't have money.
Yeah.
And so I was just getting by.
Got it.
But after college, got a job, had money, started spending all my money on drugs, and it takes more or less about 30 days to get an actual physical addiction.
Oh.
Using every day.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's sort of a general rule. So if, people who are using prescription opioids.
Yes.
If you have a prescription and you use them for 30 days, you're going to have a physical addiction.
Got it.
And doctors will manage that for you, and you might feel crappy and not even know why.
Right.
But, anyway, so after I had money and I started using heroin every day because it was awesome and I loved it.
Yeah.
I had a physical addiction, and then things slowly went downhill from there.
Got it.
You start spending your food money, your rent money. Eventually, you end up stealing or doing something to pay for it. Yeah.
Sure.
And I lived in Boston at the time. And I lasted there 2 years, and then gave up on living in Boston, moved back home with my family.
Which was California.
Yeah. And got on a methadone program. Lived with my dad. And that lasted for, I don't know how long. I was reasonably productive.
Yes.
But methadone is really hard. You have to go check in every day. You have to pee in a bottle, so they test to make sure you're not using other drugs.
Got it.
And so if anything goes wrong, like you can't pee or something,
Yeah.
they don't give you your methadone, or you can't pay you actually have to pay for methadone. I see on social media people talking about methadone being free. That's not true. You have to pay for it, and it's expensive.
Oh, got it.
So anything goes wrong, you don't get your methadone, then you get sick, and opiate withdrawal is pretty horrible, and methadone withdrawal in particular. Methadone withdrawal is way worse than heroin withdrawal.
Interesting.
So once you get on methadone, if you lose your supply, it's
Yeah.
extra bad, and then you want to feel better.
Right.
You want to be able to live and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And feel better.
Yeah.
And you know how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go buy some dope.
Right.
And
right.
so it didn't take very long before I was just back on using heroin, and because the methadone was a pain.
Yeah.
And eventually what happened is I stole from my family one too many times. My mom called the cops, and I went to jail, and that's how I got clean.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
That was the first time you went to jail through all this process?
I only went to jail once.
Okay. First and last?
Yeah, first and last. I was locked up for, I think, 30 days. I mean, it's a
Okay.
long time
Wow.
ago, so
Yeah.
I don't remember
Yeah.
the details, but I was locked up for about 30 days. Got sentenced. The judge gave me an option: either stay in jail for 6 months, I think,
Okay.
or do a 90-day live-in program.
Got it.
I think it was a 90-day. It might have been 6 months too.
Okay.
Can't remember. It's
28 years ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to not remember the details.
Yeah, exactly.
So I took the program because I thought it would be easier.
Yeah.
And even when I was in jail, I was still trying to get drugs. You can get drugs in jail.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize that.
I never managed to, though, because you have to have cash, and getting cash in jail is tricky. Or you have to have something to trade.
Uh-huh.
It's complicated.
Yes.
And I was lucky or blessed, depending on how you want to say it.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to never get any drugs while I was in jail.
Right.
So that
despite your efforts of trying,
that
didn't happen.
Exactly. That 30 days what essentially got me through my withdrawals.
Oh.
And gave me a little breathing room.
Yes.
And then I went to the program, and even when I first got to the program, I still was trying to get drugs.
Right.
But I don't remember exactly when, but at some point I quit trying, and I started listening to what people were telling me, people who had some clean time and some knowledge.
Yeah.
And I haven't used since.
Got it.
Most people's experience is that they have multiple relapses, and
Yes.
for whatever reason, I've never had any relapses.
Very cool.
But the program was 12-step based,
Okay.
so I went to AA meetings and NA meetings, and I rarely go now, but that was my path, and
Yeah.
I know it works
Yeah.
if you do what you're told.
Yeah.
So when people ask me how to get clean or how I did it, that's
Yeah.
what I tell them. There are other things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think different things work for different people, and so I don't have like an attitude about this is the only thing that works.
Sure.
I just know that worked for me,
Right.
so that's what I tell people.
Got it.
If they want to explore other things, cool, but at the same time, I know that works, so like I'm maybe a little apprehensive about people. One thing in 12-step programs that we say is people always look for the easier, softer way,
Yeah.
and that's a 12-step cliche, easier, softer way. And we do. We want to do it the easy way. We want to, we don't want to go to meetings. We don't want to work on ourselves. We want to just like quit and have it be easy.
Yes.
But it doesn't really work like that. You have to, like, if you have some kind of substance abuse problem, it's generally because you are trying to solve emotional problems with substances.
Got it.
And it might not even be substances. There's sex addicts, food addicts.
Yeah.
Human beings can use anything to make ourselves feel better and hide from our reality.
Right.
Our feelings.
Right.
And so if you don't work on yourself, eventually chances are you're gonna have a relapse.
Right.
And I'm not gonna say that I'm like a great example of working on myself, because I don't want to work on myself either.
Right. Right.
I want to, I want things to be easy.
Yeah.
But based on my results, I worked on myself at least just enough to stay clean.
Yeah. For 28 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
And I could be a better person, and if I can still use all the tools that I learned in the 12 steps stuff to be a better person. They're applicable to pretty much anything. That's one thing that I learned as I got older and had time, is I realized that my problem wasn't really drugs.
Yeah.
Drugs were a problem.
Right.
But the drugs, once you remove those,
yes,
then the problem is me and my behavior and my feelings and how I react to them and how I behave.
Right.
Based on the feelings.
Right.
So, of course, I can still get better, and I actually, like I said, I rarely go to meetings anymore.
Yes.
But last year I started going to some again, partly because I found that there was a tiny meeting in a community I'm part of at Alta, the ski resort.
Oh.
There's like 3 of us.
Got it.
And so I started to go into that a little bit because it's my people, right?
Yeah.
People who build their life around skiing.
Yeah.
And it felt like home. So I started, and also because I wanted to, improve myself.
Yes.
And but probably the most important reason is giving back. If you're a skier, outdoor person, whatever, and you're traveling, you're on vacation.
Yeah.
The ski resorts are all very much party atmospheres, and if you're in recovery, that's kind of a rough place to be, especially if you're with like a bunch of buddies or something.
Right.
And so I really felt like it was important to be there for people who maybe were needed some support while they were traveling, or even people who work at the resorts.
Yeah.
A lot of them are kids.
Yes.
In their 20s, right out of college or whatever, and they go up there and it's party all the time atmosphere.
Right.
And it can go downhill real fast for people.
Gotcha.
So it's good to have a community, support community up there.
That makes sense.
It'll be interesting this year with pandemic, because there aren't really, I don't know, I suppose there are meetings in person.
Oh,
but
right.
There's 12-step Zoom meetings now.
I see.
I haven't done one of those.
Yeah.
But everything's weird right now.
Everything is weird. Yes. And I might not be accurate 100% on this, but for the listeners, you are a photographer for extreme sports.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you capture Olympians, you capture BMX bikers. I saw a picture that you had some guy jumping over like a cliff on his bike.
Yeah.
And he was in between cliff to cliff, and in midair, and it was a really amazing picture.
Yeah, we call that a road gap.
A road gap. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you took a picture of an amazing road gap.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to let the listeners know that this is, and you you ski and mountain bike as well, because you've got to follow these guys. But
yeah.
Do you compete at all? Have you ever competed?
No, I'm not competitive.
But you're really good.
Well, really good is relative.
Okay.
I am always the worst person with the people I'm skiing or riding with.
Gotcha.
But they are, they're like top level athletes.
They're the best in the world.
They're the best in the world, or they're at least very, very good.
Yes.
And I can hang on.
Yes.
But I know my limits. I'm also way older than most of them.
Sure, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, I'm 53, and a lot of the people I spend time with are in their mid-20s.
Wow.
So, a lot of the time I am hard on myself and just think I suck. And then I remind myself that I'm twice as old as most of the people I spend time with, and I'm carrying a camera backpack.
There you go.
And,
Yeah.
so I have to give myself a break.
Yes. Very exciting though, the images I've seen you post on Facebook, how you capture these extreme sport athletes.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with action photography. I started out as a sort of a fine art photographer.
Got it.
In college, and then at some point I started shooting sports. At first it was motorcycle racing.
Oh.
Because I rode motorcycles then. I don't ride motorcycles anymore.
Got
now
it.
I just pedal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the sports photography thing is interesting. It's very addictive because part of it is technical and there's a lot of control. I have a lot of control over how I shoot stuff.
Yes.
Composition, exposure, all that stuff. But at the same time, there's a part that you're not in control of, and that's what the athlete's doing. That's whatever unknown happens, timing. So it's like you can never get a perfect photo.
Yeah.
And you always want to see what'll happen every time. You never quite know, especially with skiing, powder skiing. Part of that obsession is like, what is the snow gonna do?
Oh, sure.
So when you're doing powder photos, the skier makes a turn and the snow blows up, and sometimes sometimes the skier disappears. Sometimes you see nothing but pole. Sometimes you see nothing but goggles, and you just never know. And it's so exciting to do it. Yeah. Especially on a day with really good conditions where you know you're going to get good photos, but you never quite know what's going to happen.
Right. That makes sense. I wanted the listeners to know that that's what you do, and that's why you were talking about the community at Alta being your family.
Yeah.
So
that's also the success part of the story. Is that so I told the crappy part, but the good part is I have a quick story, which is that at one time I sold my shoes to buy drugs. Oh. And now I get paid to ride bikes and ski. Yes. So that's an important thing to tell people, especially people who are trying to get clean or sober, that you can recover. We can recover. We do recover. That there is hope. Yes. So that's an important message. Right. When you're in the midst of addiction, it feels like nothing can change, and it's just going to be bad, and you're just going to keep going back. Yeah. Feels like there's nothing you can do, but change is possible, and that's my story. Living on the street, so going to jail. Yeah. Being around people that had spent their lives in prison, thinking that that's what was probably going to happen to me. Right. And now I spend my time, in a week I'm going to be skiing and getting paid for it. I know, that's great. And last week I was in southern Utah riding bikes and getting paid for it. Right. So, things can get better. Yeah. You have to do some work and you have to be patient, but things can get better. There you go. I mean, talk about an awesome life. I really appreciate you. Thank you for inviting me. This was good. I like to be able to share my experience. Absolutely. We are a show about success stories. When I read on Facebook your success story, I said, there are a lot of people out there who could probably use this message, and it's an amazing success story. And so I was very excited to have you come in, so thank you. Thank you. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, you've been listening to K-Talk Radio 1640. This is the show, Utah Home Sweet Home. I hope everybody has a spectacular rest of the day. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that show. John shared a lot of amazing success stories within the success story itself, going from, I don't know if you'd call it rock bottom, but low, to the ultimate dream job of filming professional athletes skiing and mountain biking, which has been an amazing turnaround. And I love the inspiration behind how basically for 9 years you've just stayed laser focused on your new obsession of photography. It was that obsession started way before drugs, but yeah, from rock bottom to 50-plus-year-old ski bum. Yeah. from poor junkie to broke ski bum. Right. Living the dream. Living the dream. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this show. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below. And thank you so much again for watching. Okay.
Okay, before we part ways, in case you have a dog or know someone else who does have a dog, I wanted to take a quick second to show you the Snap Leash. The Snap Leash can literally do so many things, and I'm going to share with you one of the many cool things that it can do. As you can see, the Snap Leash is designed with 2 swivel hooks, one on each end. This end has a cushion stitched into it to make it comfortable when walking your dog. Now, all you have to do is take this swivel hook, put it into this very first grommet, and now you've got your handle. Okay, so now let's imagine you're at the park and you want to secure your pet quickly, safely, and easily to a park bench, a tree, or a pole because you just want to sit down and relax. Well, all you need to do is take this swivel hook, remove it from the very first grommet, wrap this leash around any size tree or pole or park bench, and put it into the appropriate grommet, and now you have secured your pet quickly, safely, and easily. And when it's time to head home, another great feature about the Snap Leash is you can simply wrap it around your waist for hands-free walking. Lastly, if you ever accidentally forget your waist bags at home, these grommets make a great place to fasten the waist bags so you never leave home without them. And if you want to see all of the other cool things that the Snap Leash can do, then please just click on the link below and find out why so many others are falling in love with the Snap Leash.